Starting list, on pole position it is Ken Didyker. The big news is that Didyker is destroying everybody in timed qualification. Warm up this morning, a time of 2 minutes dead, 0.5. Ken Didyker from Steve Ramon and Josh Coppins. That's the overall top three. As we said, the start grid choice position will be very, very crucial today. So Didyker is the man on form, riding for the CAS Honda squad, the team leader for Honda this year, now that Josh Coppins has moved across to Yamaha. So we're ready to look forward to race one of the MX1 World Championship. We're going to take a short break. Join us again soon. Round one, race one, 2007 World MX1 Motocross Championships. Pole position, Ken Didyker, the number 9 machine, riding for the CAS Honda squad. A clear half second ahead of Steve Ramon on the factory Suzuki in second. Josh Coppins, the man moved across to take over the role of Stefan Evert's lead role in the Rinaldi Yamaha squad, is in third. Kevin Strybos, the second Suzuki, was on fourth. Mark DeRuva, second member of the Rinaldi Yamaha squad, local hero, was in fifth position on 201.9. Tanel Leok was sixth. Billy McKenzie was in 12th, James Noble qualified in 13th, Mike Brown 17th, and Gordon Crackard, after a hefty crash in qualifying, came in at 23rd. Warm up this morning, Didyker again quickest by over a second from Jonathan Barragan, the Spaniard on the KTM. Manuel Preem on the factory TM was in third, David Philipparts was in fourth, James Noble 7th, Gordon Crockard 13th. But this is it, race one of the 2007 season. Didyker goes off the circuit and inside the posts in his search for the start. The number 9 CAS Honda machine, and that is Manuel Preem on the TM, down already. The number 8 machine, the man who was in third in warm-up this morning. And Tanel Leok also has gone down early on, the number 5 factory Kawasaki, but the leader, it is number 6, Josh Coppins, Rinaldi Yamaha. Coppins, as we say, stepped into Stefan Evert's shoes for the 2007 season. Rinaldi Yamaha squad saw him as the man to take over the mantle. 30 years old last weekend. Coppins, though, being pressed by his ex-teammate Ken Didyker, number 9. Kino, the 6'3" giant from Leuven in Belgium, takes the lead. But no, Coppins is fighting. There was lots of shenanigans went on with those two last year when they rode for the same team. So there's going to be no love lost whatsoever this year. Now they're rivals. Didyker, though, is a class act, and he picks a clean pass there on Coppins. Didyker destroyed everybody in qualification yesterday and absolutely flew around, and was the only man to get the 2 minute dead barrier. Coppins, though, not his favourite circuit, the sand. He's had to work very, very hard over the years to perfect his technique. It's not natural to him coming from New Zealand, not like the Belgian and Dutch riders like DeRuva and Didyker there. So he's had to work hard at this to get as many points as he can to keep his championship on string. Number 4, the second CAS Honda rider there, Mike Brown in 4th position. Brownie had a much better start, the 34-year-old from Tennessee, downtown Mike Brown, the man who was 17th in qualifying yesterday, so not good for him. Jonathan Barragan, the number 7 factory KTM rider, way back in the pack as well. Another one where sand isn't his natural terrain, coming from Spain and the hard-packed circuits there. So straight away we have the scene set. Didyker, it is out front. Coppins doing his best to keep him in track. The number 6 there. Coppins, of course, will always fight to the death. But Didyker has been blisteringly fast this year. At the British Championship last weekend down in Cornwall, he destroyed everyone again with his qualifying times. This man has been national champion in Belgium, in Germany and Britain. But sometimes his fitness has been called into question. His speed is undoubted. He's blisteringly fast, quite frighteningly so sometimes. But his fitness sometimes called into question. Billy McKenzie there, the 211 machine. Mac 211, a much better start for McKenzie. Didn't look very happy in qualifying yesterday. 12th position on 203.8 for McKenzie. And didn't look good. In fact, he was 31st in warm-up this morning. 16, James Noble, now riding for the Multitech Honda squad. Seems much happier. He has a new trainer, the same trainer as Josh Coppins, and looks much fitter and leaner. So we'll see whether that bears any benefits to the young man there. Max Nagel, 101, the German sensation who's been setting the scene alight in the early season internationals. Who's that going down? It's a factory KTM, that's for sure. Let's see who it is. 19 is Philip Hertz. David Philip Hertz gone down from 13. And that looks terminal. Is that Marvin Van Dalen, the number 75 machine? Difficult to tell, but he's obviously had a crash with somebody. But at the front, it is still De Dijker. Kino is his nickname. 6'3" giant of a man. His style is so unique to him that nobody else is certainly not out of any textbook. He can be blisteringly fast, but then in the same race suddenly slow right up and look like an amateur. But the man has been working very hard. The CAS Honda squad, Neil Prince in particular, has been working hard with this man. And Coppins is making a move up the inside. De Dijker casually looks across at him. That's what I mean. The man looks as though he's cruising. You never tell whether he's actually trying or when he's not. Coppins fighting hard. You always know when Josh is trying, that's for sure, because it's all the time. Never anything different. A Suzuki in third position. Can't see who it is at the moment. We'll try and get a view for you. It could well be Steve Ramon, the man who was second in qualification yesterday on a 2:01.07. So there, De Dijker, Coppins, it is Steve Ramon in third, his teammate Kevin Strybos fourth, Mike Brown, second CAS Honda man in fifth, and Billy McKenzie with a fabulous sixth place. McKenzie moved up to the MX1 class, moved up to the factory Kawasaki, so everything different for Billy this year. New bike, new team, new class, new clothing, everything. But he seems quite at home on it. He's always built for an MX1 machine rather than the tiny MX2, and McKenzie seems much happier. Further down, Chiodi there on the V-twin Aprilia in 19th position. De Ruva way down in 20th. So something happened seriously there for De Ruva. Lap times at the moment, 2:10s for Ken De Dijker, 2:09 for Josh Coppins. So Coppins slightly quicker. And you can tell that because Josh has reeled him back in again. Coppins again left the CAS Honda squad where he was there for 3 years. This didn't make the opening round last year, of course, because of an injury picked up the week before the first Grand Prix. So the race is on. The two ex-teammates, De Dijker and Coppins. De Dijker again casually looks across at Coppins. Complete different styles. De Dijker, long legs, stands up. Coppins, far more flowing, but De Dijker has his own style there, makes it look so easy with his style. As I said, destroyed everybody yesterday with his qualification. He just looked so much quicker than everybody else. He just casually looking across, goes past the pit garages, takes a casual look at his team, sees what's going on. Spent 3 months in Florida over the winter training. Picked up a knee injury there, a slight knee injury, but seems to be over that now. Currently leading the British Championship, defending that title that he won at his first attempt in 2006, beating Josh Coppins, of course, but Coppins missed the first half of the season. The CAS Honda squad, the leading Honda team in the MX1 World Championships this year, have had faith in De Dijker over the last couple of years. They picked him up when there was a few question marks over his ability and his fitness and dedication, but they've worked hard with him. They've instilled a work ethic in the young man, which seems to be bearing fruit at the moment. Fourth in MX1 Championship in 2006, ninth in 04, ninth in 05. There is Kevin Strybos riding number 2 this year as opposed to his traditional number 24. He said he likes the number 2, so he wants to keep that. Finished second, of course, last year to Stefan Everts. McKenzie has moved up to 5th and James Noble 6th, so the Brits are storming. The Brits are storming at the moment. McKenzie 5, Noble 6th. As I say, Noble working with Stefan Neuser, the trainer for Josh Coppins. And just looking at him, he looks lean, he looks fit, looks much happier in the Multitech squad this year on the Honda. So James Noble, always been one of the nicest guys on the circuit, but perhaps needs to just sharpen up a little bit now to get the results that his ability means that he should deserve. But Strybos, the man who destroyed everybody at Hawkstone Park International in the sand recently, has been injured over the last couple of weeks. This is his first ride back for the last 3 weeks. Injured his knee, so he's decided to rest up. He missed the opening round of the Belgian Championship at Mons last weekend, specifically to rest up for this Grand Prix. So, riding with a little bit of damage limitation is Strybos. Coppins, though, still adapting to that Yamaha. He's been testing an awful lot in different track conditions, down in Italy on hardback, in Belgium on the sand. This isn't an update of Stefan Evert's machine, by the way. They actually started from scratch on Coppins' bike, so they built it around him and his particular requirements. Second on his debut at Mantova in Italy on the hardpack circuit this year. Rode some winter supercrosses in New Zealand. There is Steve Ramon, 2003 125 world champion, third in the MX1 class last year. This man really is expected to step up to the plate this year. He's been knocking on the door for the last couple of years. Stefan Evert says he's the most talented rider I've ever seen. So a 10-time world champion to say that, you've got to be pretty good. Ramon third, Strybos four, Mackenzie and Noble still there in 5th and 6th positions. Brilliant ride for Mackenzie and for James Noble. Mackenzie, the phenomenon, winner of the last 2 Japanese MX2 Grand Prix, of course, so we know he's got the speed. Jonathan Barragan 7th, Max Nagel 8th, Mike Brown slipped down to 9th position now. Bas Verhoeven 15th, Mark de Ruver slowly climbing up the leaderboard, but still in 17th place, which is not what he was expected his home Grand Prix. There is James Noble, just in front of Jonathan Barragan, the number 7 machine. Noble on the 16 Multitech Honda. Another man who's had to work hard at his sand technique, but doing very, very well. Starts are not normally James's strong point, so he's done very well today. He always makes things a bit hard for himself. Noble currently turning 2:11 lap times, as opposed to Ken Didika, who's doing 2:06s. He's destroying everyone again. Didika on the 3rd lap, 2:06.6. Josh Coppins' best time with 2:08.4, so Didika almost 2 seconds quicker than anybody again. There is Noble in front of Barragan. Barragan, the Spaniard, who ended up by default being the team leader for the KTM MX1 squad in 2006, with the demise of Mikel Pichon and Sebastian Tortelli. But he rose to the challenge and rode superbly well, and is looking good again. He's going to be making a move on Noble very, very soon. James Noble doing the right thing, just concentrating, holding his lines. But Barragan is the aggressive one, and there's a move coming. There's a move coming now. Noble rides it out sensibly. And they're both catching Mackenzie, look, on the green. De Groot, Motorex Factory Kawasaki in front, the number 211 machine. For those of you who haven't checked it out or are Mackenzie's fans, please check out his website, www.mac211.com. It's been updated recently by renowned journalist Adam Wheeler, and it's a really good website. Loads of info on the boy. Mackenzie, 2:10 lap times. Noble 2:11s, Barragan 2:10s, so it's pretty close. There is Barragan in 7th, appropriately the number 7 machine. Of course, come under the wing of Stefan Everts now, who is Motocross Race Team Director now, looking after David Philipparts, Jonathan Barragan, and of course the 2 MX2 riders, Tyler Rattray and our own Tommy Searle. The leaders though, there they are. Didika, despite that storm in lap time at 2:06, still has Josh Coppins there fighting with him on a 2:08. Didika does seem to speed up and slow down at various times, doesn't maintain a constant pace. 22 minutes left to go, so an awful long time, and Coppins will hound him and wear him down. But Ramon is close. You saw him in the background there, the number 11 factory Suzuki of Steve Ramon. Ramon Dabom, 28 years old now. MX or 125 world champion way back in 2003, when he only actually had 1 race win. Stefan Everts won the rest, but through consistency, Ramon came out as world champion. Moved up to MX1 and has been there and thereabouts ever since. 4th in 2004, fourth again in 2005, and third in 2006. There is Ramon just dropping into the picture there. 2006 Belgian champion, won the opening round at Mons last weekend with 3 straight wins in the sand. You can see what I said earlier in the preview, the circuit didn't stay flat as it was on the camera shot for very long. It's got rough already. 5 laps into the race now, and it is still Ken Didyker from that man, number 6, the Lizard Josh Coppins, the machine as he's being called now. His preparation is always second to none. He works harder than anybody, and Coppins getting edged out of the way by tail enders. Blue flags would normally be out there to tell those the tail enders that the leaders are coming through, so be prepared. There's Mike Brown, the number 4 machine. So Mike Brown in 15th at the moment, in front of Mark de Ruva, number 14, and Tanel Leok coming through from being last on the first corner. We saw him go down and be last on that first bend. Teammate to Billy McKenzie on the second, factory Kawasaki. There is the Estonian Express, Tanel Leok, the number 5. Just behind local hero Mark de Ruva. De Ruva flowing through there and easily goes past Mike Brown, the man from Tennessee. Downtown Mike Brown, 34 years old now on the CAS Honda, but De Ruva made that look very easy. There's the number 9, the Belgian CAS Honda team leader, Ken Didyker. There he is. This man really does have 2 personalities. Off the circuit, he is extremely quiet, but once he puts his race face on and the crash helmet goes on, he's a different man altogether. 20 minutes left to go in this race, and the race is really on between Didyker and Coppins. Join us again shortly. While you've been away, Josh Coppins has taken the lead. Didyker doing what he does. He's slowed up for some reason because they're all turning 2:09 lap times, so it's not that Coppins has speed up. Didyker has slowed up a bit, and Coppins is now hitting the front. After 6 laps, Coppins is there on the Rinaldi Yamaha. Stefan Everett says this man works harder than anyone, but doesn't have the best technique. Josh, in fact, thinks he's not riding that well at the moment, so look out everybody else, because if he's not at his peak and he's heading the table, you are in trouble. 17 minutes left to go on this race. And Coppins, it is starting to stretch out from the front. And was that Steve Ramon second? No, not yet, but I don't think it's going to be long. Didyker slowed down considerably that lap. 2:12 he's turning now. 2:09 for Coppins, 2:09 for Ramon, and a 2:12 for Didyker. Didyker has been known to suffer from the dreaded arm pump. Could that be the problem he's having at the moment, or did he have a moment? So we're going to see what happened while you were away, because Coppins suddenly caught up and went past there. So we'll see what happened. This was the pass. Coppins with an aggressive pass around the outside of the berm. Didyker didn't fight back. Looks as though he's in cruise mode, as he always does, but you can never tell with this man. There's the slow-mo. Coppins way quicker into the turn and just leapt over the outside of the berm. Lucky to get away with that. But and Ramon's down. Ramon. Oh, what a mistake, a small mistake. The front end just seemed to get away from him. He's kept the machine running, so he hasn't lost too much time. But oh my word, that is Steve Ramon. It's so uncharacteristic for him to make a mistake like that. The most technically superior rider on the circuit. Everts, as we said, says he's the most technical man on the circuit. Let's see what happened. Back end started to come round, the front just went away, and that was it. But the presence of mind to hold the clutch in, you can see that. Keep the engine running. So he did go well. Didyker's birthdays all came at once there, because that's played into his hands, and if he is suffering from arm pump or a problem, that's given him some breathing space. Ramon has got it all to do again now. Still retained his 3rd position, but he's got to work all over again. 15 minutes left to go, nearly 16, so he has time. Teammate Kevin Strybos there in the background is now in 4th position and is starting to make a move. Jonathan Barragan, meanwhile, has gone by Billy McKenzie for 5th, so McKenzie 6th, James Noble 7th. Further down, Mark de Ruva's up to 10th, so he is on a mission. Mike Brown's 14th. Gordon Crockard 22nd. But at the front, Coppins is now seizing his chance. He is going to make a break and try and get away and give himself some space towards the end of the race. But Didyka's coming back again. How can you predict this, man? You just do not know what he's going to come up with. Coppins has said that once he gets in the groove, if he starts winning, he's going to be difficult to stop. That's his prediction. Winner of the Montevarchi early season international and Valence in France, both on hard pack circuit, so it has to be said. Did some winter supercrosses while back home in New Zealand over the winter, and won the opening round of the New Zealand Supercross Series. As I said earlier, they've developed this bike from scratch, specifically around Josh, so they haven't just updated Evert's bike. It is totally new, and Josh seems very happy with it. Took Fabio, his mechanic, with him from the CAS Honda squad, did Coppins, but there's James Noble, 8th position at the moment for Noble, because Cornel Nemeth is moving up now on the Suzuki from Germany. He's in 7th place now. So Noble losing places slowly, but still a good result for him. But he's going to accompany soon, because Mark de Ruver in the background there is going to be with him. There's Max Nagel, the number 101 machine, the German, who's been setting the early season alight. The man who stepped up from relative obscurity in the MX2 class last year has suddenly stepped on the big 450 MX1 machine and is flying, and makes a pass very easily on Noble there. James perhaps being a bit too nice again and not fighting for that position, because Nagel went by very, very easily. So Nagel moves up to 8th position now. Nagel on 2:13 lap times, so way off the pace of the leaders. Steve Ramon had a bad lap that time, 2:21 was his. So Didyka 2:10, Strybos 2:10, Barragan 2:10, but the leader Coppins on 2:09. So that's why Coppins is stretching away at the front. There is Nagel, 101. Riding with Tommy Searle's number, of course. But Searle riding the MX2 class. You'll be able to see the highlights of the MX2, don't forget, on British Eurosport. Keep an eye open for that one. There is Nagel, the German. Took advantage there of James Noble getting slightly out of shape in the sand. Nagel, 19 years old, from Bavaria, won the Mantova early season international. To everyone's surprise, it has to be said. Didyka back in the groove one more time with that unique style of his, in second, but some distance behind Josh Coppins now. 6 seconds in fact behind, with 12 minutes left to go. Coppins is charging at the front. 2:09s as opposed to 2:11s for Didyka. Steve Ramon still turning 2:09, so if Didyka's not careful, Ramon is going to catch up with him again. Not the best of buddies in the CAS Honda squad last year. They had a couple of run-ins in the British Championship particularly, but also in some of the Grand Prix. So now they're rivals. It's not going to get any better. Coppins, of course, moved away from CAS. Couldn't really turn down the offer of the full factory Yamaha with the Rinaldi squad. So Rinaldi, Yamaha, could they be continuing in 2007 where they left off in 2006? This man, of course, Coppins, was the only man to defeat Stefan Everts and take a Grand Prix victory away from him last year with that memorable race win at Desert Martin in Northern Ireland, at the Grand Prix of Northern Ireland. He was the only one to beat Everts last year. Coppins, who of course missed the opening Grand Prix and the majority of the season last year through an injury he picked up the week before the opening GP, when he was fully expected to be Stefan Everts' main contender, main challenger last year. Coppins had another horrendous injury with his shoulder, which basically had to be reconstructed because he broke the shoulder socket, so they had to rebuild that. The two Leocs, meanwhile, fighting there for 11th position. Tanao and his cousin Igar. Tanao number 5 on the factory Kawasaki. Igar riding there for De Beers Yamaha this year. Cousins from the famous Leoc clan, and in fact there is a younger cousin coming through in riding today in the European Championship, so another one's coming through. Avo, of course, uncle who started it all off, had that unfortunate injury last year. But this will be friendly rivalry. Coppins, Didaika, Ramon, that's the top 3. Mackenzie hanging in 6th position there. 5 seconds behind Jonathan Barragan, but Billy will be happy with that one as a first race. Max Nagel up to 8th. Cornel Nemeth riding well, the German in 7th place. James Noble 9th now, because Nagel's got past him. Mark de Ruyver's the man on the move. De Ruyver up to 10th position. Sebastian Porcel, brother to world MX2 champion Christoph, is in 13th place. Mike Brown slipping way down the order now to 16th position. Manuel Priem, who went down early on, in 24th. Gordon Crockard, 22nd position. Just in front of Chico Chiodi, debuting the new V-twin Aprilia motocrosser. Both 1 lap down. But how many times are you going to see this? Two cousins dicing in the MX1 World Championship. Leoc versus Leoc. Igar stepped up to MX1 class this year, the number 111 machine. Tanao, who's been there for a while now, had the speed last year to challenge Everts a couple of times, but seemed to go off the board a little bit towards the end of the season through a combination of some machine problems and also a couple of injuries. Very, very quiet is Tanao, the number 5. Does his talking on the track. Very quiet because he's very self-conscious about his lack of English, so rather than make himself look silly, he decides to keep quiet. So not a bad policy. But don't ever try and interview him because it is hard work. But he does his talking on the circuit, devastatingly quick, and there's got to be a lot to come from this young man. 21 years old at the moment. His birthday is the 1st of June, and there he goes past his cousin, and will now, under no doubt, will disappear. So that's the battle for 11th position. 2:11 lap times as opposed to 2:13 for his cousin Igar. So that's why Tanao is gone. Teammate to Billy Mackenzie, of course. Senior member of the team, having been on the squad for 2 years now. Jan de Groot has a lot of faith in this youngster. In fact, 2 youngsters on the team now, with Mackenzie there as well. So they're looking to the future. Leoc, who looks very, very happy in the sand technique. But back to the leader, Coppins, with 7.5 minutes left to go. The man who turned 30 on the 11th of March. So for an MX1 racer, he is in his prime, 30 years old. Thinks he has another 2 years left on him at the top level. His hobbies are jet skiing, wakeboarding and mountain biking. He loves anything to do with the water, does Josh. Takes every opportunity to get out on his boat, but works harder than anybody. That's acknowledged by members of the team. There is Michele Rinaldi in the picture there. Team manager, team owner. The man who's been there and done it himself, ex-world champion himself, of course. But Coppins, look at the gap, you can see that for yourself. 10 seconds is the gap now, nearly 11, so he is actually going away as the race progresses. Such a difference from 2006 when the man was distraught, when all his months and months of preparation were wiped out in one go with that accident a couple of days before in training before the first GP of the year. Number 75, Marvin Bandala there. On the Shinrei China motocross team Honda, way down the pack. Didaika starting to look over his shoulder, seems to have settled into that 2nd position. 2:12 lap times he's running at the moment, as opposed to Coppins 2:10s and Steve Ramon 2:10. So Ramon will be in 3rd position, but could well be getting closer to this man. Still just 6 minutes to go, so there's time for Ramon to do something. 5 seconds was the gap, but it's not 5 seconds now by the look of it, because there is Ramon, 26-year-old Belgian, riding that number 11 machine. Born in December 79 from Bruges. Finished 6th in the World Series last year, but felt he should have done better. Very conscious of the fact that everyone thinks that he's no fight in him and that he gives up too easily. He says that he works as hard as anybody and tries as hard as anybody. He is a gifted rider, no doubt about that. Very, very smooth. His technique is superb, but he doesn't seem to have that little bit of killer instinct which is needed sometimes. Sometimes misses taking a pass by being too nice and waiting for the perfect pass. Saw it a couple of times last year when he was leading, and as soon as Stefan Everts came up behind him, he just seemed to fall over and roll over and let Everts go by. But Ramon says that's not the case. 3 straight wins in the Belgian opening championship round a couple of weeks ago, or last weekend at Mons, and made that look very, very easy, very stylish. 4.5 minutes left to go, Ramon. Lap times are getting quicker, 2:07. Ramon's significantly quicker than De Dijker at the moment. Further down the field, there's Gordon Crockard, number 13, in front of Manuel Priem. There is Crockard on his PAR Holmes Honda. Number 23 machine is out at the moment. 23 being Alex Salvini on the 3C Racing Yamaha. The team looking completely mystified as what the problem is. Just under 4 minutes left to go. Coppins, De Dijker, Ramon, Strybos, that's your first 4. Mackenzie is still in 6th place. Superb ride for Billy. James Noble has now slipped behind Mark de Ruva and sits in 10th place. But this is the race at the moment. Steve Ramon, having made that very small mistake when he was just about to make a move on Ken De Dijker, has now had to do it all again and has caught right up. 3.5 minutes to go, plus 2 laps. So De Dijker is struggling. De Dijker a 2:15 lap time on the last lap, so he is struggling. Could it be the dreaded arm pump for him again? I'm sure it gets into his head. That's where the problem is, because he does work hard on his training. Strybos 4, Barragan 5, Mackenzie still 6 is the order, but this is the race we're watching. There's going to be a pass coming soon. Ramon very nearly got aggressive there, which is not like him at all. But sits back and again is waiting for the perfect chance again. As time rolls past, Ramon can't afford to do this. There's only 2 minutes, 3 and 40 seconds to go before the 2-lap board comes out. Shouldn't be a problem. 2 minutes 11 for Steve Ramon that last lap. 2:15 for De Dijker, but 2:09 for Coppins. So Coppins has just disappeared at the front. He's gone. Crockard 21st position now. So we'll be in the points very shortly if he can pick up another position. Manuel Priem, meanwhile, on the TM has got past him and picked up the last scoring position in 20th. 14 laps completed. And Steve Ramon is pressing hard to come home in 3rd or get that 2nd position. Ramon, this is his home terrain. This is where he's most comfortable, and there's a move coming now. Ramon, will he be able to dive up the inside? De Dijker casually looks across to the inside just to keep a check on things. He almost seems to be playing with Ramon. He's such a difficult rider to predict, De Dijker. He just casually looks across. So frustrating, because he's got the speed, De Dijker. But Ramon is pressing on. De Dijker doesn't seem to be able to stretch away Ramon. That was the clean pass he was looking for. Not known for barging his way past people. He'd looked for a clean pass, and that was it. Swept around the outside. 71 Mikhail Mascaro by the look of it down there. We'll check that out later on, but in the meantime, Antti Pyränen, it was in fact 71 Antti Pyränen, but De Dijker suddenly now has capitulated and has given up on that 3rd position, and Steve Ramon is away. Coppins settled into a 2:11 lap time now, which is still faster than anybody else. This is the one. Ramon picked him off stylishly. That was coming 2 corners before it actually happened. Ramon just picked him off, clean move down the inside. There's Frank Schroyen on the inside there, mechanic for for the factory Suzuki squad. Used to be mechanic for Joel Smets. He's been around the series for a long time. Now for Steve Ramon. The Bomb is his nickname, but a most unlike Bomb character I can't imagine, because he's very quiet, very reserved, is Steve Ramon. Number 8, Manuel Preem on the factory TM there. The man who went down on the first lap. Third in warm-up this morning. Taken over the factory TM machine, which is a gorgeous looking bike. There is Didaika, the man who took... sorry, no, that's we're looking for... There is Preem, the number 8. Just about to get lapped by the leader, Josh Coppins. There's number 6, Didaika, I was going to say, took his first ever pole position in qualification yesterday and seemed to have destroyed everybody. But this man, at the end of the day, much as Stefan Evett said last year, he's not worried whether he comes out on top on the Saturday, as long as he's on top on Sunday and race day. And Josh Coppins seems to be adapting the same way of thinking. There's Carlo Rinaldi, team manager of the Rinaldi Yamaha squad. The man who is helping Josh Coppins along. They literally do everything for Coppins to make sure he has everything he needs to win. It seems to have settled into the squad very well. His mentor is Jackie Vimon, the ex-world champion himself, ex-French world champion on a Yamaha, way back in the 80s. Josh's attitude has changed now. He says he expects to win now. His confidence has gone up. Still not the most outgoing of characters. He said he's trying to smile and enjoy himself a bit more now. Josh is always a very serious character, takes his racing very, very seriously, works hard, but sometimes needs to lighten up a little bit perhaps and enjoy himself a bit more. Always very approachable though, one of the nicest men in the paddock, always got time for everybody. Time for autographs, time to talk to his fans, of which there are many all over Europe and the world for Coppins. 15 laps completed. The circuit is getting much, much rougher now, and lap times are stretching out accordingly, as you would expect. 2:13 for Coppins now, 2:12 for Ramon, 2:15 for Didaika. So the time is up, 2 laps to go now. And Coppins looks to be heading towards that first race win of the season, which will boost his confidence. And don't forget, he has said that once he starts winning, he's going to be very difficult to stop. David Philippart's the number 19 factory KTM rider there. Philippart's down in 23rd position, so that really is a blow for him, because he was expected to be up there this year. 121. Chico Chiodi on that V-twin Aprilia machine. The diminutive Italian stepped up to a MX1 class this year. There it is, there's the V-twin Aprilia. Still being developed, of course, this year. Being lapped by Didaika and Ramon, and Didaika is making a charge. 2 laps to go. Didaika is starting to come back at Steve Ramon. This is the man being so unpredictable. You can never call the shots with Didaika. You never know what's going to happen. He's back in the 2:12s again this time. Back on the 2:12 lap times. He's not going to catch Coppins, the number 6 Rinaldi Yamaha team leader. He's not going to catch him. With 1 lap to go, Coppins is away, but second position, who knows? Steve Ramon and Ken Didaika. Coppins hung on to Didaika early on when Didaika was charging and really on the pace. Coppins held on to him. Then once he was past, got his head down and disappeared. And has never been challenged. As you can see, no letting up for Coppins. He maintains that pace and keeps charging right to the very end. Gets out of shape a bit then. 1 lap to go for the Lizard, the 30-year-old team leader from Motueka in New Zealand. Changed team, changed riding gear, changed everything this year. Still lives in Belgium, but spends a lot of time with the Italian team. The Rinaldi squad down there in Italy. Riding on Thor gear this year. After seeing him in red for so long, it's very difficult to get used to seeing him in the all blue now. but we're going to get used to seeing him at the front this year, I'm sure of that. No sign of anyone behind him. The gap, 19 seconds now between Coppins and Steve Ramon in second. So Coppins has destroyed him this time, mentally and physically. He's destroyed everybody. He was the man with the target on his back coming into this season, because everyone said he would be the main challenger and the favourite for the title. So all the young guns were after him, but he's put them firmly in his place on race one. There is Coppins heading off towards the finish line for a very, very popular win. He has a huge fan base all across the world. People love this man. He is so approachable, but once he gets the race face on, he focuses 100% on racing and nothing else. And he does everything in his preparation, in his training. Everything is geared around perfect preparation for this race and for the championship. Has a good team around him this year. His trainer, Stefan Neuser, is acknowledged as one of the best. Coppins is one of the fittest riders out there. Works harder than anybody. Spends a lot of time cycling. He loves cycling. Interesting to see that Manuel Preem, the number 8 TM rider, is in fact staying with Coppins on the pace. I don't think he'll be brave enough to go past him, but he's staying with him there for sure on the last lap. Unlikely to overtake him, because of course he'll have to do an extra lap. There's the finish. Josh Coppins celebrates in typical reserved manner. So a win for Coppins. But who's going to come in second? Let's have a look. Is it going to be Strybos or is it Didyka? Sorry, not Strybos, Steve Ramon, beg my pardon. Ramon was second. There is Ken Didyka, the CAS Honda man. Comes across the line to complete his race. He's going to be disappointed with that, because he was so dominant in qualification. He's going to have to go away and give some serious thought before race 2, because he dominated speed-wise, but he hasn't transferred that into results. Coppins, though, look at that. He's happy. He is ecstatic. That is a big, big weight off his mind. He now knows that he can do it. Race 1 under his belt, and I personally think this man is going to be on a roll now, because mentally he is so strong, is Coppins. Second place was the number 11 of Steve Ramon. Ramon there brought it home after that small problem, and Ken Didyka in third. Fourth place was Kevin Strybos, Jonathan Barragan fifth, and Mark de Reuver, with absolutely phenomenal ride through the pack, came home in 6th in the end. So teammate to Coppins in 6th. So that's race 1 of the 2007 season done and dusted, and going according to form. Josh Coppins, the Rinaldi Yamaha rider, brought it home quite comfortably, as it turned out in the end. We look forward to race 2, of course, to see if that happens. 18 laps completed. It was Coppins in front of Steve Ramon and Ken Didyka. Kevin Strybos, the second Suzuki, in 4th. Jonathan Barragan leading KTM in 5th place. Mark de Reuver, brilliant ride through the pack to come home in 6th place. Max Nagel was 7th. Cornel Nemeth 8th. Billy McKenzie ended up 9th, so not too bad for him. 10th for James Noble. He'll be pleased with that. The 2 Leox, Tanel 11th, Igar 12th. So McKenzie will be pleased with that. The 2 Brits come home 9th and 10th in the MX1 class. McKenzie brought it home as lead Kawasaki MX1 rider. Not a bad debut for the youngster. 22 years old now, of course, Billy.